I'm Kelly Siegel, and this is Harder Than Life, a podcast about self-love, self-awareness, business, and health. We tell outrageous stories and boil everything down to simple, practical advice you can start using today. Let's get living. Welcome back to a very special edition of the Harder Than Life podcast. I have a long-standing dear friend on the show to promote an amazing event for charity. I've known Bridjet Morris for 17 is what I wrote down here, but I think it's more like 20 years, actually. It was the year that the Super Bowl was in Detroit. I don't remember what year that was, but it's a long, long time. At any rate, I couldn't be more proud of the mother, the wife, the woman, and the philanthropist you've become. Welcome to the show, dear.
Thank you so much.
We're going to start off with what your story is and why your story matters. We need to know who you are. I know who you are, but the listeners don't.
Oh boy, you would think that I would have this like down pat, but I think now as a mom, as a wife, and just somebody in the community that has really been called into feminine leadership over the course of the last really decade, just stepping into my purpose more and more. I guess you could say it started honestly as early as like Girl Scouts, being the one that was gathering everyone. And I got that from my mom. She did instill leadership and making sure that you make sure everyone feels included. I'm also a Gemini, so I love community and gathering. And so my story is I started, I guess, professionally working in my early 20s. I was into marketing and advertising, and it sort of put me in a really unique position to be around a lot of interesting, affluent people and have experiences really around the world. So it opened my eyes to the big picture of just all the opportunities that are available for us if we choose to, search them out. So after I got married and became a mother, I really just started cultivating this community around me of women who are intentional, women who are also being called forward themselves, women who are working on creative projects. And what I have found over the years through my own efforts and through my own transitions in life is that holding space for women and having conversations and providing encouragement and inspiration and empowerment is just something that is so needed right now. And it's really just a natural calling for me. So, that's kind of my short and sweet story.
Well, how I met you just flashed before my head because I remember meeting you and you were in it with a huge group of ladies, and it was at the Pistons game. And you guys, this was way back when texting first started, so you had to hit the letter 3 times to get to the third one. And I'm like, why does this woman always text me? I don't want to text. And now that's like only way to communicate. So, but I remember you were a leader way back then. It was, what does Bridjet want to do? And what event are we going to? And then even when we all merged our worlds, it was, Bridjet, set this up. I'll take care of the rest. And, we'd cook food together. We'd have fun. You were a natural born leader. And I still think you're being humble, but I'm going to pull it out of you a little bit with the next question, which is you've had many philanthropic events. I've seen many focused on women. What else has inspired you to do this? It's usually a calling somewhere.
Well, again, growing up, and I was raised by a single mother, she always showed me the power of community. And that has just always been, it's just a resonating theme in my life of giving back and helping somebody less fortunate. There's always going to be someone less fortunate that you can help. So it brings me great joy, and I see the positive impact that it has on the recipients and everyone involved. And it really is true, when you give, you get. So I love it.
I'm so proud of you. Look at your face lighting up, the glitters, everything. It's beautiful. And I just remember way back when we would be bouncing all over the place, and you still have that same glow about you, and you've never looked better. I want to dig into that. Your single mother, she's still alive, I assume, right? Where does she live?
She lives in Macomb.
And how is your relationship with her now?
It's not the greatest right now. We don't really talk a lot. So I've had to set boundaries, honestly. And when you grow up and you parent your parent, it can be very draining. And at the same time, I do believe that it is my story, and it is really what has brought me here today, because she demonstrated to me just what it looks like to receive. And she, when I would see my mom at her best, it was when she was supported by sisterhood and by other people. So, yeah.
We're going to dig in that a little more, because were you finding yourself in the interactions a little bit drained, and that's why you're setting these boundaries? What does that look like?
Yeah. Again, just she struggles with mental health. So constantly having to step in and be the child that supports her and is always concerned about it. That has really, it has been draining. And at the same time, I'm thankful that I can provide that, that support. But at the same time, being a mother, I've had to just say, okay, this is where, I have to draw my boundary. I can love you. I can still support you. But this is where I have to just draw a boundary.
Thank you for the vulnerability. And so I want to ask you another question. Is your dad,
my dad's around. I have a great relationship with him. I have a stepmom, great relationship with them. He's always been very constant in my life. He's always been supportive and there and walked me down the aisle. And to this day, he's very close with his grandkids, and loves my husband dearly. So.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good story. Boundaries, I don't talk to my parent, my mother, my stepfather, and I haven't in 20 plus years. And a lot of people say, oh, it's your family. You can pick your nose, but you can't pick your family, or you got to bear that hatch. No, you don't. I'm a firm believer that if it doesn't feel good, you shouldn't do it. So I admire you. I replace boundaries with standards. This is the minimums you're allowed to do to have access to me. And so kudos to you. Thank you for that vulnerability. Thank you for being genuine and authentic. It's courageous. Most people would skate around it, and you just boom right out there. So because it lets the listeners know who you are and where you came from, and that's what's going to make the rest of this interview be that much more better, because everyone's going to understand, look, nobody come from a perfect, rosy family. And that it's what you make of life that makes life so great.
And I find that that's our story, truly, is every setback, every hurdle, all these wounds, they are really what make us who we are and why we're here and connecting with others.
You're right. It's the obstacles. Everybody thinks it's the destination, and it's the journey. It's all the tough stuff that makes you who you are, and you gotta love all that.
All things to make us grow.
My mentor says, "Yes, I love growth every day. Every day I want to grow." My mentor says to me, "Marry the process, divorce the outcome." And it's funny because we're always thinking about, if I just get here, I'll be happy. If I just do no. Be happy today, every single day, and when you get there, you're going to be even more happy. What's this next event, and why is it so special? And what's the date?
Okay, so I'm throwing an event at the Shinola Hotel, and it's really me. It's a collaboration. I'm so thankful for the supportive women that help me create these experiences and really just help me, hone in on my vision. This event is going to be at the Shinola Hotel on June 1st. It's a Thursday. It'll be from 5 till 8:30. The event is themed around worthiness. It's actually called Worthy. And I want every woman attending the Shinola to feel worthy of that experience. And I was really intentional with that location because I just know there's so many women who love this hotel and this space. And we're hosting it in the Birdie Room, which is their rooftop, and it's just gorgeous outside. So, we're going to have an elevated cocktail party with music and networking and a spritz bar and past hors d'oeuvres, and it'll be really chic. And then we're going to go into the other room and I'm going to do a keynote talk on worthiness and my own journey of, discovering my own worthiness and owning it. And I'm going to have a panel discussion with 2 other women, mothers, entrepreneurs, other women in feminine leadership. And we're going to go deep on just what we're doing right now to show up for our community, the work that we're each putting out there, and kind of like how we're, each one of us are stepping into our own power.
Oh my God, I just fell in love with you all over again. I've dated every woman on earth that thinks she's not worthy. And I want to jump because I grew up so poor, so abused, and I matter. I am worthy. I have built that. I've cultivated that in myself by going through hard things and coming out the other side. And I just want to jump into women's bodies, especially the ones I've dated, and be like, you are worthy. I wish they could see what I see, like what I see in you. You see it, but if I date you, you probably don't. So worthiness is a huge topic. I didn't pick that up when we've talked at the charity event that we were at last. So good. And now you got to give me a little tidbit of your keynote because it's such a good topic.
Well, I mean, you don't get to where you are without doing the work. And it really is a unlearning of programming that we are just fed from the minute we're born, really, about rushing and fear and lack. And so as we talk about worthiness, it comes down to the personal validation that we need to give ourselves, the permission we need to give ourselves, and just knowing that we are enough, we are worthy of everything, we are unlimited potential if we choose to apply ourselves just by being who we are. So I want every woman attending to leave feeling just worthy of every big dream that she has, because I know so many women in our community are just bursting with creative projects that they want to birth and so many things. So it's about creating a space for all of them to feel inspired and empowered. And of course, it'll be at the Shinola, so it'll be beautiful and stunning, and just every woman leaving will feel amazing.
Well, you're throwing it, so it's definitely gonna be good. What's website so they can buy tickets?
So they can find tickets on Eventbrite under Worthy Means. They can find it on my website, Bridjet Morris. And the best part about it is we are raising money for an organization called Support the Cause. And I learned about this organization actually because it's my neighbor, Katie, and she is a child cancer survivor. So she started a foundation called Support the Cause, where she gathers people to volunteer and raise money, and they donate that money to smaller organizations around town that need support and recognition. So I'm really excited to just amplify her foundation and what she's doing, and just draw awareness to it for all the women in our community, because I have found, honestly, with all of my events, having that philanthropy piece, it's inspiring. It shows that we're actually showing up, and we're doing service, and everybody can give. Everybody can do a drive or raise awareness. So I love that part. At almost all of my events, you'll see some sort of a cause being highlighted or some money that we're raising. I really believe that, no number, big or small, I mean, it all makes a difference.
It's a proven fact. It's scientific fact that if you're feeling down, if you go in service of others, if you go and give to charity or go to a charitable organization and do work, you'll instantaneously feel better. So in service of others, it's a karmic universe. What you give out, you will get back. It's the law of attraction. So if you're going to be negative and think you're unworthy, you're going to meet a man who thinks he's negative and unworthy, and you're going to like attracts like, and two negative people, it ain't gonna work. Now the opposite is true too. Sometimes you'll find somebody that's and that doesn't work. But two whole people need to come together and feel worthy and grow together every day.
This is for Katie's organization, Support the Cause. Yep. So just to clarify, it is for Support the Cause. She is the cancer survivor, and she's very, very active in advocacy, and so it is important to, amplify this foundation and show everybody that this is something that is out there that we can all contribute to and support.
So I think it's very funny that you're going to be in the birdie room. So a little birdie is going to tell all you're worthy. You've got it. You can feel it. You emanate it.
Well, and it's funny
it.
because I swear the bird is my spirit animal. So it's just Bridjet, bird, blue, like it's all just, divine.
That's awesome. You said a couple of things that were just absolute gems, and I want to re-highlight it. You said doing the work is unlearning, and what you left out was loving yourself. You didn't say that. I was very surprised. And then the last thing was that all of this is an inside out job, not an outside in. You're not worthy when something happens. You're worthy now, and you have to keep telling yourself that. So can you expand upon that?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to self-love, it's such a buzzword, but and it's easy to throw out there, but it really does come from carving out the space to silence the noise, go within and remind ourselves, believe in ourselves of our worth and just take the time for that, because again, we're in such a busy world. There's so much noise that is distracting us and taking us away from our center and what calms us and keeps us kind of like our guiding, compass. And so yeah, self-worth and worthiness, it all just, to me, it goes side to side.
What do you believe that alcohol plays a part in all of this?
Well, I mean, it depends on to what degree. I love, a good cocktail party, but you have to set boundaries for yourself. You have to be able to discipline yourself. It comes down to discipline. So being worthy, you are worthy of everything you need. And that comes with the recognition of what is making you feel good. What is your body telling you? So there's different, our body responds differently to things. So if we can have the ability to set boundaries and set limits and see where abusive patterns kick in and listen to ourselves, then, I think with anything that limitations are important, and you can't abuse anything. Once you start doing that, then you've lost your power.
Well, I had a guest on here a couple of weeks ago. He said everything in moderation, including moderation. But I'm a firm believer. You've heard, my story of 4.5 years sober, or just choose not to drink. I can drink. I'm not powerless over it. Just choose not to anymore. And I realized why I was drinking, and it just made it no fun anymore. And so I got a pretty strict rule that I don't associate with too many people who get sloshed.
Yeah.
And I'm not judging. I don't care. You do you, boo-boo. That's usually some sort of trauma that they're masking. And when you're hanging out with me, I don't have anything to mask. I don't have any, I've what do you say? Do the work, and I am worthy. So I tend to mirror, and they look at me like, oh my God, what is this? So I just try to steer clear of that and keep it to 1 or 2 drinks and be respectful and be a lady.
Absolutely.
Be classy.
Absolutely.
One other thing, where does self-awareness come into play in all this stuff? Because a lot of times we just literally, I got it under control, or I love myself. That's the famous last words. I go, you got to love yourself. Of course I love myself. Well, let's look at your choices. You're getting hammered every single night of the week, or at least Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's not loving yourself. What would you say to someone that you see doesn't love themselves, but they say they do?
They have to really, that's their own journey. We can see it from somebody out from a mile away, but at the end of the day, there's several people like that in my circle and around the world, and that exist and that come to me for that support. But it comes down to taking the time to listen to yourself, because I can probably guarantee you that anyone struggling and coming from that place where they are having to numb themselves multiple days a week to forget about things and to escape, they know deep down what's going on. Like, come on, it's 2023. Everybody knows what's going. It's their own journey though within. It's not for us to judge and to see and to project. It's everybody's on their own journey, their own timeline, and all we can do is simply be a reflection and be an inspiration for them.
I'm so glad you're here. Your eyes just went so empathetic. You're a kind soul.
Oh,
and you were absolutely right. I just made a note to myself to be softer, be more accepting, and be peaceful. Because as you've known me, I am none of those things. I am a bull in a china shop. I want to jump in. I want to help everybody. And it's like, of course, it's your issue. And that doesn't get anywhere.
Well, and it's what are we learning from all these situations too? Like, we're constantly learning from everybody that the universe puts in front of us. So it could be somebody that you need to do mentorship with, or it can be, a lost soul or whatever the case is. But maybe it's somebody to empower you. But sometimes we need to be patient with that. And again, kind of trust the process and quiet the noise, even sometimes our own mind.
Oh. I'm learning from you right now. I love it. It's which is great. The next question: define success for the listeners in your mind?
I think success is happiness. If you are happy and fulfilled, then to me, that's success. It's not necessarily a number or a destination. It's more of a feeling. And I think that there's so, we can pick apart any situation and think it's not enough. But I think success is gratitude and acceptance and joy.
Sounds like you're saying alignment with who you want to be.
Yeah.
How do you get there? How'd you get there?
Support, mentors, just believing in myself, always knowing that there is a greater purpose for me, and truly, honestly, just always knowing that there's a greater purpose for me. Even now, I feel like there's so much work that can be done. And now I have children that are watching me, and even more my community is even bigger. It's like there's even more, pressure sometimes to lead, but it's the constant job of cultivating self-awareness, and it just doesn't stop.
Coming from your background, how did you start believing in yourself?
From the time I was little, my mom used to always tell me, "You're a model, walk like it," So I always had the encouragement and the kind of like the affirmations. So I wasn't lacking in that area. But as I grew up, I definitely compared myself a lot to others. And it's the work. It's quieting the noise, getting in nature, getting clear on who I want to be and who I want to show up as, and really just honing in on that day in and day out. And again, quieting the noise of all of the voices that tell me otherwise, and getting really clear on who I want to be and showing up as our future self.
I'm just sitting here in awe of you, because I'm asking you the questions, and I'm running through in my head how I got there, because I didn't grow up. I didn't have love. And there's nobody who believes in themselves more than me, and you know that. I literally whatever I believed from my childhood, I knew it was wrong, so I would flip it. So I would do like a reverse, what do they call that? I just would believe, what is it?
Reverse Uno card.
Reverse Uno card. Oh, I just, a reverse Uno card. I see that. That's actually funny. That's a good one. I just would flip the script. And when you did that so many times, I just believed it.
Well, and I think that you have gone into, you talk about the books you read, you talk about mentors, like you are somebody who started surrounding yourself with the people and the life that you really wanted to be cultivating for yourself. That's a big one. If you want to be a successful person, hang out with successful people. And
what you said also, Rachel, you said, comparison, comparison is the thief of joy. I don't compare myself to anybody. As a matter of fact, I think I'm an alien. You see my posts. I start at 3 sometimes in the morning. Sometimes I start at 4, but I'm an early guy, and I go. And then I fall on my face, and my why is my daughter, which sounds like with your children, which we're going to get into right now. And I apologize, but I want everybody to know all about Bridjet. How long have you been married?
It'll be 11 years.
Wow. To an amazing man. He is a friend of all of ours, and it's wonderful. What's your key to a successful marriage as well as motherhood?
Gosh, I can truly say that I married my best friend. We were friends for a long time before we, took it to the next level, and we've maintained that true friendship. There is passion between us, and we just love to set that example for our kids. So I think that's what cultivates this like warm, loving family home. My kids see us go on dates, and they see us travel, and we talk about dreams and visions together. And we have been so intentional with those goals from the beginning, and just that alignment.
Yeah, you guys.
And he doesn't drink. He's has been sober since before we got married. So he's a guy that's willing to make sacrifices for his family, and I recognize that and I appreciate it. And so we have major gratitude for each other. He's my biggest supporter. He literally, I sometimes I just look at him. I'm like, it's me. Hi, because I'm just like. More. Sometimes I feel as a wife who doesn't work and somebody who is constantly pursuing her passions, and part of my passion is just being me and having the social life that I have, and that is an investment. So we invest in each other.
Bart, we're crushing on you right now, buddy. Love you. You are an amazing man. And I wasn't going to go with the not drinking thing, but you brought it up, and that was a conscious decision he made to make the relationship work, right?
Absolutely.
That's a hero in my book, man. I admire him. We're going to be doing business together, and that's part of the reason why I just admire him as a man. You said something else, and I wanted to talk about it, and I've lost my train of thought, so I'm going to switch to until I remember what it is. What's your kids' names?
I have Roman, who's 8, Ooh. Isabella, who's 6, and Rocco, who's 3.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. You said you're stay-at-home mom, or you don't work. You have the toughest job of ever. You have to take care of 3 kids. You're doing philanthropy. And then you obviously, your husband's a lawyer, and you run some of the things at the office because you've had me there. Mm-hmm. You have the best job of all, is taking care of the conglomerate that is family. So, and you're killing it. I couldn't be happier. I watched your journey, and I'm so glad we've reconnected, and thank you for driving all the way out here to be a part of this, because we're going to do some great things. And again, as I told you, whatever I can do to help any of these events, even though you guys were trying to pimp me out for being naked, which I would be as opposed to. I don't mean fully naked, but just what did the marketing girl want me to do? She said, "Well, you just walk around and hand out hors d'oeuvres in your Speedo or something." I was like,
baby steps.
You know me, I like go full nude. I'm just kidding. Of course, I had to take it to the wrong level. Beautiful family. What's the worst advice you've ever received?
Oh, worst advice I've ever received.
Probably was from me when I was drinking back in the day.
Honestly, I probably forgot the worst advice I ever received, because I honestly have no answer for that.
I love that answer. I have never ever heard that.
I just don't even focus on the negative. Truly, I really don't. And when things like drama, negative people, I'm like, I'm moving on. I can't.
God, if you think back to when we were kids and we were partying, how much drama there was. It's just when you booze and chaos and relationships and it's just too much. The thought of it gives me the willies. And when you see younger people come in, you have no clue. I remember what our parents would say. You'll see.
Well, and now we have kids that are going to be, we have to teach them different.
And it's so hard because you want to tell them the same stupid things that our parents said to us. You'll see. And you just got to let them, like you just said, you have to create space and let them go on their own path, make the same mistakes. I'm not a hover father, and I let them do it. And I set that example for my daughter. Now I'm very proud of who I am, and she knows it. She listens to all the podcasts I listen to. She listens to all my podcasts. So we're inspiring young women, and she'll be we'll get her to one of these events soon. What's the best advice you've ever received then?
Best advice I ever received? Someone did tell me that along the lines. And,
I probably told you that.
I think it sounds so cliche, but really never give up. That is to me, or keep going. That is honestly that has to be a resonating theme in my life, because at any point I could have just stopped and been like, okay, I'm good for now. I'm gonna, just not continue on this path of leadership, and I'm not gonna push myself for growth and cultivate a deeper meaning for myself. So it's something that every one of my mentors, all of my groups talk about. They're like, you have to keep going for yourself. You just cannot stop. Make every day, make progress, even baby steps. So
I always say the night is darkest just before dawn. So right when you think that it's the worst, you just keep going. And people have to believe in invisible progress and know that eventually, if you continue to go, you're going to find the light at the end of the tunnel. That's literally my success. I just never stopped moving. And eventually I figured it out. Took 43 years, but I figured it out. What's your biggest fear?
It's being probably away from my kids and just being separated them and leaving them and leaving them missing me and wishing that they had their mommy around. So just not having them. And
what's your favorite kid?
Oh boy, my gosh, all of them?
Yeah, I'm just kidding. They probably have that discussion. Mommy loves me best.
Well, because Bella's my daughter. She's my favorite daughter ever. So
if you go to the show notes, you have to follow her. First of all, you see this beautiful family. So show notes will have all of your socials. You see these amazing kids. They are beautiful.
Thank you.
Which leads me to the next question is you are a blonde bombshell. You are stunning. Some women who don't feel worthy like to hate on other women. And that's where you talked about with comparison. What's the reaction that you have, that other people have when you walk into a room?
Honestly, I like to be the person that lights the room up. So hopefully it's positive and hopefully they feel that high vibe from me. But just touching back on comparison and jealousy, I have found, honestly, that when we come together and we collaborate and we support one another, that we are stronger as a collective. And, again, we're raised to compete with one another. We start competing for guys at such a young age, and it's just this competitive world that we live in. And it's always, someone's trying to get ahead of others. But when we come together and we work together and we cheer each other on and we support one another, we share ideas and provide inspiration, empowerment. I mean, it is better for all of us. We make much more progress that way, and it inspires. The ripple effect is greater. So,
what habits do you model and embody to support another woman? Because I always say, united we stand, divided we fall. But it's tough that if someone just doesn't like you for whatever reason, I'm not even going to get into that. How do you bring them? Because I have the same thing, and I have answers, but this is about you. There's certain people just never going to like me. There's certain people that are my friends that secretly don't like me. What's your...
I'm not even tuned into that. I'm really all about cultivating my community. I'm so right now focused on the positive women that are around me and strengthening them and holding space for them and encouraging and truly like leveling them up and just being that woman that can be a reflection for them for what they can see for themselves. Because even with the event that I'm hosting at the Shinola, they all have grown bigger and better. It's because women are worthy of these experiences. Sure, I could have it in my house or at my country club, but you know what? No, I want them to feel even better about themselves. I want them to feel even more inspired when they have a rooftop skyline and think, God, this could be me one day hosting this event or sharing my idea or starting this company or building this brand. And so that's what I'm focused on right now.
Your vibe attracts your tribe. That's a great, I keep saying this, is your answers are beautiful. I'm going to do a disclaimer on this next question because I'm going to exclude your family out of this. So what's the most important decision you've made in your life, excluding marrying Bart and excluding having these 3 beautiful babies?
It's easy. Investing in myself. It's been the biggest blessing, the biggest investment. And I continue to get an ROI on it every single second of the day. And because I am worthy of that. And so I have programmed myself into believing it and doing the work. And it's so thrilling and rewarding that it's not even work anymore. Even reading these self-help books is like, they literally make me a better person. So we call it doing the work, but I enjoy the work. I enjoy breath work. Shit, I enjoy crying. Like, I'm telling you, these things, I know that they are, it's just a beautiful expression of just God, really.
I feel your energy right now. I love it. I'm so happy you're here. Your eyes did this thing. I can't even explain it. I can't even explain it. It just went to another, like a flip switch. I can't explain it. All I could say is that I believe it. I know it, but I want to dig into that a little deeper. When did you know that that's what you wanted to do? And what are some of the things that you did? You keep your surface level.
It's okay. So my husband's mom was diagnosed with cancer, in 2000, I want to say 9 or 10. And I had never dealt with anybody, being sick like that. So when it was right in front of me and I had the opportunity to sit with her and get to, and understand the disease and really just drop everything else in my life, but except for being supportive, I realized that I wanted to make great changes in my life because I didn't want to have cancer and I didn't want my husband to have cancer. I never wanted to go through cancer. I never wanted anything in that world. So instantly we started talking about what can we do to prevent this lifestyle. And it was elimination and it was cleansing and just getting really real with everything in life. And that started with, I got a health coach, I got a nutritionist, I started seeing all these experts and therapists. And so that was such a catalyst for like just spiritual awakening and all of that. And it just inspired me to host events and connect more with myself and my community. I started my lifestyle blog at that time, and that was all about health and wellness. And it transitioned into motherhood and conscious conception and natural birthing and inspiring topics that I want to inform just the women in my community. I feel like these are things all women want to be talking about and learning about, but who is talking about them? Who's putting in the time and the work to make these discoveries? So it was through that journey and those experiences that I just continued on this path of self-discovery, self-awareness, wellness, and worthiness.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I hate to ask this, and did she lose her battle with the cancer?
She did.
So death has a real humbling effect on people. There's a Latin saying, memento mori, we're all going to die. People don't realize that we're all going to die. And I'm not afraid of death. I want to live a long, 120, be great. I say that, but 100 would be great. And every time now that I live this good life, when somebody passes away, I start subtracting my age from theirs. And it just makes me sick when someone didn't live their life. Now, cancer, that wasn't their fault. But when I hear someone dying of an overdose or they drank themselves to death, it kills me. And that's what this is about, this creating awareness about making good choices instead of the toxic ones. Now, toxic choices don't have to mean alcohol or drugs. It can mean scrolling incessantly. It could mean porn. It could anything that isn't in alignment with making your life better. I just recently, since I've taken this sobriety journey, learned all about the correlations between cancer and alcohol. I had no clue that whatever's in alcohol it increases your risk of cancer. So, nobody thinks they're going to die. Everybody thinks that they're just going to live forever, and everybody thinks that they can stop at any time, and it just doesn't happen. I'm one to speak. It took me till 43. Now, I had a great time, but who knows what the damages I did. So, memento mori, we're all going to die. So, regret, the pain of regret or the pain of change, you decide. And at the end of your life, the distance between who you wanted to be and who you are is that regret. I ain't experiencing that. And I may be, my life could be half over, but I'm only just beginning. So that was my 10-second rant. You want to add anything to that?
I love that.
You remember me when back in my days, man, I wasn't cheated with the alcohol. If you were offered a mulligan in life, what would you do over?
What would I do over?
It's hard to say because everything's a learning experience, but still.
It is. One thing I did regret was I stayed in Michigan, and again, I'm thankful for it because it's given me this tribe of people. But when I was younger, I always thought I'm going to move away and I'm going to go start this other life. But back to what you were saying, it's all just part of our journey. And so I'm not regretful for it, but sometimes I wonder like how life would be different if I would have landed, just somewhere else. But I think that desire is what it was part of my vision for always being on the go and discovering new places. So even though I'm here and my roots are here and we always plan to be in Michigan and we love it here and we love our community, we always travel with our kids and we do one day plan to, have a second place that we can grow into.
It's great. I have a place in Florida.
I know.
You guys can use it anytime. It is fabulous. But Florida is a first world country. They run their country much different than the United States. It is different. I ended up there because of the pandemic. We were shut down here, but it is, for many years when I was drinking, I didn't want to leave my familiar misery, my comfortable misery. This were my people. This was my tribe. Now, if my daughter wasn't in school, I'd be long gone. I would be good in Florida, and I spend as much time as I can. It's wonderful. So I highly recommend some part of Florida, and the kids will love it. My daughter loves going down there, and it brought us closer. She immediately, I love Michigan too. I think the Michigan summers are great, but the Michigan winters, I can live without. The snow, no, thank you. But you'll see, it'll be that you definitely want to do that. It is worth it. If you were to give an 18-year-old one specific piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, it's to invest in themselves. It's really to invest in themselves and to be their own advocate. You're not going to get validation from, at the end of the day, it's an inside job. So all of my babysitters who are graduating, I'm always like, don't stop investing in yourself. Like, you continue to discover who you are and what lights you up and what makes you feel good.
What would a daily habit be for an 18-year-old that you would consider investing in themselves?
Movement, journaling, being around supportive people.
Saying no to toxic behavior and chaos and alcohol.
Yeah, music.
Journaling. Talk to me about that. I love journaling. You want to know, I'm going to tell you something I don't think I've ever told. I may have. I'm starting to get old in my day. I was afraid to journal because in my book, I wrote about my ex-wife and my ex-girlfriend getting together and trying to take my daughter, and they used a lot of stuff against me. I was very nervous that somebody would find my journal and see how twisted my mind is. And instead, I started a podcast and I just put all my stuff out there and wrote a book about it. So now I'm perfectly imperfect, and all they'd read is, he's sick and twisted, which we all already know. So I never did it for long, but now I'm addicted. If I go a day without it, for me, it's just getting it out of my head and allowing me to provide space for good things. If you get the bad things out of your head, you create a vacuum and you can bring in positive things. So how would you go about that journaling, and what would you say to somebody that isn't?
Yeah, I love journaling. I think it's just a beautiful just expression, and I would definitely recommend it for everyone to sit down and get out a pen and a notebook and just write down your feelings. And sometimes I just learned about channel journaling, where you just kind of get into a meditation and you just write what comes out, and it's really without even thought. So when it comes to, if you're confused on where to start, I mean, just simply start by like, what do you want for today? Today I want, today will be. And just start simple. Journal your visions. I journal every day, and it's so rewarding. And for me, it's kind of the same. I've noticed, I've looked over journals over the years, and it's always the same message. It's about being an intentional mom and being a wife who walks with gratitude and who is loving. And it's about being a woman who shows up for my community constantly and is constantly cultivating. It's the same message literally year after year after year. So
really? Because you've grown so much.
I have, but it's my dreams and my visions have never really gone away. So my journals when I was pregnant with Roman were all about talking to the baby, and it was letters to him. And of course those are so precious, but it was still about me. My dream is to be a mother who's intentional with you, who takes you outside. And I look back on that and I'm like, yeah, I've always wanted that for myself.
See, I've never talked about this with anybody. I journal totally different, but it's more of that channel journaling. I get everything off my head, and then I go back and I make little stars of when I feel good. And then if I get a little bit down, I go back to see what I was doing, what my mind thoughts, what my daily rituals and habits looked like in case I fell off. Like, I'm coming out of a 4-month funk, and I went back and looked at my journal, and I could not find you know what? It just came to me what it was. It was having 1 or 2 toxic people that I allow to have access to me. And I now that I just did it that quick in my head, it's amazing how when you have very little to none, and then the one, how it amplifies it. And I just recently made a decision and said, you no longer have access, blocked.
Just went through that myself.
And it's like, it's the hardest thing in the world for me because the 8-year-old Kelly needed, when his sister left home, the abusive home, he needed somebody there for him. So I want to help him. So whenever you're having a problem, I want to jump in and help you because I want to help that little 8-year-old boy. But now I've been able to separate and say, Kelly, you made it through. You're good. Look at you now. Mm-hmm. And it calms me down, and I don't need to go and help someone who's not ready to be helped. They're in their journey. They'll figure it out their way. And I accept them from where they are. Hardest thing in the world for me to do. And that's what I've been dealing with for 4 months. And I made the decision this weekend to stop. And all of a sudden, my life, the vibe just went, whoo, and I went, oh, I feel like I lost 125 pounds.
And that feeling is your body talking to you.
You know, I'm so stubborn that it sent me, I'm not going to say specifics because it's not nice, but they sent me 2. They're like, Siegel, you're not getting it. Hello, we're going to send you 2 toxic people. And I went, it literally looked up and I go, I got it now. I got it. I looked up at this guy and I got it.
Thank you, universe.
I blocked them both and they said, it's time for you to step up. And it's still sad because I love these people very dearly and I want them to get it. But I just, they're pulling me down.
Well, and you don't, exactly.
I got big things to do. I want to help. This podcast is blowing up. Everything's blowing up and I'm getting asked to do speaking, and this is what I'm meant to do. The IT National Technology Management is killing it. We are growing like crazy. So if anybody needs IT support and they need it good, cheap, fast, and correct, call National Technology Management. This has been a blast. It went places I didn't know. We're getting up against it. Is there anything I haven't asked you today that you feel compelled to share?
No, I think we touched on it all. I just want to remind all of our listeners that if you're in the Metro Detroit area or Chicago or the Midwest, that we would love to invite you to the Shinola Hotel on June 1st to join us for the Worthy event. And if you just feel that there is something inside of you that this conversation has resonated with, I invite you to, listen to that and be curious about what that is.
Curiosity killed the cat, but I love people. What was the website? You said BridjetMorris.com. So go to BridgetMorris.com and on
Instagram,
there, can they donate even if they don't come to the show?
Yes.
And it's on the website.
We will have a link on there. Yep.
Please donate. This is for a great cause. And it's a write-off.
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to remind everybody that each and every episode is sponsored by National Technology Management, the easiest and best IT company to do business with, delivering peace of mind with technology every day. Visit trustntm.com for more info. Until next week, be harder than life. Thank you, Bridget. I love you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for listening. Please rate and subscribe to Harder Than Life, and let's take this to the next level. Get connected at the links below.